Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Beware the Board, a horror podcast where we watch a randomly selected horror movie every single week. I'm Bob.
And I'm Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Hey!
Oh, Lord. Okay. We're starting like that? I got it. You know what? I understand.
I'm very tired.
Yeah. Maybe a peel behind the curtain. A peel? Yes, like a banana.
Look?
A peek is the word I was looking for.
Okay.
I missed it, one letter. We just spent the last, 15 minutes before you just heard the intro yapping about, complaining about being tired.
Yeah.
And how Ben's been moving a bunch and stuff. So if this episode's a little funky, sorry.
Yeah, it's been a rough week. I've been doing like 20-hour days
Yeah.
every day for like the last 6 days. And that's on top of doing 18-hour days for the last like month.
Yep.
Because I was apartment searching and everything. So it's very hard. Today I spent 7 hours
I was about to say, what time did you get up this
moving. I got up at 10.
morning?
I got to the old place at like noon.
Did you work last night?
Yeah.
Yeah. What time did you get off work?
I didn't get home until 5.
Yeah, so less than, yeah. My point is, it is now currently 8:36 p.m., and Ben's been up for a while. Now
Yeah.
I'm prepared today. I got plenty of rest. Kind of.
I'm glad one of us got plenty of rest.
Well, rarely is it you. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I know. I wish it was me.
I know.
I have such bad insomnia and everything.
I keep telling you to go to the doctor. Or just look, I don't say, don't do drugs, kids. But if you did, like, drugs, they would knock you out.
So, I don't know if I had this rant before. My issue a lot of times is not actually traditionally insomnia. I will go to sleep and then I'll wake up after just like an hour or two, and I can't go back to sleep.
See, that blows.
And I think it's because I'm like partially rested, and that's usually my big problem. But then I also have actual insomnia, like where I can't fall asleep. And that tends to get really bad when I'm stressed or anxious. And since I've been moving, and I basically have a week to like get a bunch of stuff done and out of the old apartment, that's made that really bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Life's tough, huh? Only sometimes.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Nothing can be done. Okay.
You have news?
Yes. Do you have anything?
No.
Okay. I have two things. One thing I should have talked about forever ago. I'm just stupid and didn't write it down. I don't know why. Okay. So look, I'm excited about this news because I am really into this thing, and I know you are into it a little bit, but it is technically horror news. Technically.
Is this Spaceballs again?
It's not Spaceballs. Magic the Gathering announced its next set, releasing after the one currently slated, which the new next set is called Bloomborough. It comes out the middle of next month. The set after this one is called Duskmourn, and it is a horror-inspired set.
That's cool.
It takes place on the plane of Duskmourn, which is entirely contained in one giant haunted house. The set releases on September 27th of this year. What's cool about this set, and why I'm personally so excited about it, is A, it's horror-inspired, but it's not like traditionally horror-inspired, like a set like Innistrad, which is like vampires and werewolves, like gothic horror. It's like modern movie horror. So there's literally cards like Chainsaw that you can equip to creatures, and there's tons of references to like actual horror movies, and
Nice.
it looks so fucking sweet, and
Well,
all of the art is so nice.
I think they finally realized, like, wait a second, the horror genre is becoming pretty lucrative.
Yes.
And weirdly enough, all the freaks who are into it just also happen to be into magic.
No, it looks so fucking cool, and I'm so excited. I'm going to buy so many packs of this one set looking for alt arts.
I don't normally pick up physical cards, but I
No,
might
I
get
know.
them for that.
I know you play Arena, and the set will be legal standard.
I might get them for that, because I don't like to spend money on Arena.
Yeah.
I'll play it sometimes when I'm bored, because I do enjoy playing Magic.
Yeah.
It's an investment that I don't necessarily
No, I
want to
get
get into.
it.
But just for, like, card designs, if there's some cool stuff,
Oh.
I might do it.
I'll have to show you some of these cards. They look so fucking cool. And there's like tons of references to movies and stuff in them. There's literally one that is like a little doll made of spiders. And you can tap it, and when you tap it, you add a counter on it, and then you can sack it, and you make that many spiders based on the counters. And it's like, there's just shit like that is so cool. I'm so excited. And all of the full art lands for the set are just different rooms of the house, because it's a haunted house. It looks so cool. I'm
That's
so
cool.
excited.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
I'm hyped for that. I'm excited about it. Because a look behind the curtain, I guess, for like what I do in my free time. We drafted
Appeal.
Appeal. We drafted the Modern Horizons 3 just came out, and we drafted that set.
Bob says we.
I drafted that set. Did I ask you if you wanted to come?
Yeah, but I was doing moving.
I thought I asked you because we were.
That was last Sunday. I was
Yeah.
cleaning. I spent like 4 hours cleaning.
But I think this set, like Dustmore, would be really fun to draft because it's like a themed set and with a bunch of like different stuff. I think that'd be fun. So maybe I'll do that. In actual horror movie news,
Ooh.
a new horror film called Long Legs, which I think you've probably seen advertising for, right? It's all over Bloody Disgusting.
You know what? I have not been on the internet really this week.
Fair enough.
My computer is packed away. I think the closest I've gotten to horror news this week is I haven't had the energy to read anything. So I've just been listening to like creepypasta readings and like SCP stuff.
Gotcha. Well, it's a new horror film called Long Legs. It releases on the 12th of July of this year, and it's been getting really good reviews. Currently sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which take that with a grain of salt. We've talked about that. There may be some manipulation in those.
It's not out yet, so that's just critics.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And an average rating of 8.8 out of 10 on all other sources I could find. It is directed by Osgood Perkins, who also directed The Black Coat's Daughter and Gretel and Hansel and Gretel. It stars Micah Monroe and Nicolas Cage. Longlegs is described as in the vein of classic Hollywood psychological thrillers, and early reviews have favorably compared the film to the 90s classic The Silence of the Lambs. From what I've seen, this movie is apparently fucking crazy, and people have been nonstop talking about it on Twitter. Like, it's allegedly so, like, disturbing and gross that people are throwing up, like a la Terrifier.
Nice.
And I'm really excited about it because I mean it looks cool. I really don't know a ton about the plot, but if it's
I don't either, and I won't look up anything.
no,
so
I don't
can
want
get-
to. I don't want to know anything. If it, I mean, the quote that I found said it was like in the vein of Silence of the Lambs. That's a film that we haven't seen on the show, but I've heard is very, very good.
I've seen it.
I know you
I
have.
had to watch it for my film class last semester.
Oh, that makes sense.
I don't know if I think I mentioned that.
Maybe we've talked about it probably, but I think I'm excited about this one because like. You know, a lot of the time when I read horror news on the podcast or talk about it, it's stuff that, like, is ridiculous and crazy. Like, you know, I mentioned the Winnie the Pooh stuff that's coming out because that's crazy and ridiculous and, like, it'll be gross. This just seems like it's probably actually a good movie. And that's exciting.
Hopefully.
But that's all I got.
Okay. Now to the podcast part of the podcast.
Oh, no. Sorry. I've been distracted the whole time we've been recording because, you know, we've been yapping about stuff that isn't podcast. And now
Yeah.
I'm mad again. I just,
Great.
like, the sense of dread just overwhelmed me.
Now,
And-
if you haven't been here, Bob is angry because he decided to wait on the random category, which I would like to point out is the first time he's ever gotten his random category.
And I yelled about this last week. I chose this random because it's a good random, not because I thought it would be a fun
And
category.
he hates it. It is remakes, and we have some opinions about remakes here on this podcast.
I don't know if we have opinion. I mean, we do have opinions, but I feel like our opinion is like
They can be good, but they can also be really, really bad. And Bob can't figure out how much I hate him yet. So
oh shit. What does that mean? No. Look, I edited that episode the day before it came out, like The Ring, okay? I did not think I was that angry on that episode.
you were so angry.
I was so pissed off. And now I'm
It-
at that level already because I'm mad still.
It was hard to get you to talk about anything positive. And you said it on the episode. We had another person like sitting in the background, you know, not mic'd up. They were just kind of there
Yeah.
because they didn't have a ride out of Bob's house.
Well, we were busy.
Bob kidnapped them.
I did that. Whoa.
I'm sorry.
He's an adult.
Adult napped them?
I abducted him.
Abduction, yes.
But then his wife came and got him. It's fine.
Yeah, whatever. But I think the only thing that was keeping you from full on screaming was
Yeah.
the fact that there was a third person there.
You're right.
So if we get something bad today,
No, I was refraining myself because I was like, look, I don't want to scare him, bro. You've never seen me like that.
if we get something bad today, you're gonna be like a Beyblade. Let it rip. So we have 2 spots left on remakes because we've covered everything else. So what are you gonna choose?
So last week, I don't know if you heard it. I left it in the episode for the audience and for myself. When I chose the category and you told me what movie it was, I literally said, fuck you. I was talking to the guy behind Ben because you couldn't see him because he told me what movie to choose.
He put up 2
He
fingers.
put up 2 fingers and told me to choose 2, and he fucked me because that movie sucked, and I'm still angry. So, well, I have 1 and 3.
Yes.
There's no possible way that a bad movie could be in spot number 1 because it's the first one.
Are you sure?
Don't ask me that. Stop asking me that. Yeah, what's in spot 1? It's like opening. I know they're all going to be bad, and I'm going to be mad about it.
Today, we're watching a little film from 2008.
2008. Okay.
Yeah. It's called Quarantine.
Oh shit! No way. Are you serious? Okay, this might actually be an okay movie.
We're watching the American remake of Wreck.
Now I know what you're doing with this category, and now I don't know. Well, no, that means the last one's going to be good.
Why does it mean the last one's going to be good?
Well, because, okay.
What do you think I'm doing?
Well, so now I see the theme you're going for. See, you like to do this. You like to do a theme within a theme for the podcast. These are all remakes of non-American films.
Or maybe not.
Well, the only other non-American film I can think of that we watched that you could do a remake of is Suspiria, which is
Yeah.
a fantastic film.
But how nice do you really think I am?
Not very. But that gives me hope, Ben. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
I could shoot us both in the foot with the last movie.
Yeah, but what other non-American film could we
'Cause
watch a remake of?
Bob, I'm not going to say it has to be a non-American film.
But that's the theme. That's the thing you're going for. Because I've caught on to your tricks, Ben. Look, we've been doing this podcast for over a year. I think I would have learned by now.
I want you to know whether or not all 3 films here are American remakes of foreign films. That was not intentional.
Fuck. Okay, well, I'm excited about this one, though, because that's a very, very good film.
Wreck
The original.
is, yes.
Yes.
But think about how good Wreck was.
Oh, and Wreck was really scary.
Will this compare to how well shot Wreck was?
Probably not.
Description. What if Wreck didn't have subtitles?
We're still going to watch it with subtitles.
We are.
Because I need them. I can't.
But what if it
hear.
wasn't Spanish?
Yeah. And it was set in America, probably.
Yeah, instead of Spain. All right, it's an hour and 29 minutes long.
Oh, a normal length film, thank God.
It's rated R.
Okay, good.
Review scores. IMDb gave it a 6.0 out of 10.
That's not too bad.
Tomato meter, 56%.
Okay.
Audience score, 44%.
Fuck me. I'll think all those scores are lower than The Ring, and I hated that one.
The Ring was, I can check right now, 7.1, 71, 48. So the audience score's close.
The other score's close, but the other scores are higher. Okay.
Yeah. Awards, it has 0 wins and 6 nominations.
It got some nominations. I don't hate it.
Notable actors. Do you know who the main character is? I
No.
think we've talked about it before.
Have we?
Yes. Jennifer Carpenter.
We have talked about, what else is she in? She was in, it was a movie we both really liked. It was in season 2.
She was the main character.
Yep. The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yes.
Yes.
She played Emily Rose in that. In this film, she's Angela Vidal, the main character. You know, the
Sure. Yeah.
TV host person. Steve Harris as Scott Percival. He was Private McCoy in The Rock.
I
You
don't
know The
what that
Rock?
is. No.
Really?
No.
That's a fun movie.
Your definition of fun is usually not the same
No,
as mine.
no. It's a fun movie. And by
Okay.
the way, it has Nicolas Cage in it.
Oh, that's cool.
So, what The Rock is, I'm going to go on a tangent about The Rock now. Functionally speaking, it is an unofficial sequel to the original James Bond films.
Oh, that's cool.
So, essentially, what is happening is someone has taken over Alcatraz and is holding people, like, hostage there.
Oh, that's
I think
sweet.
it's Alcatraz. I'm not sure if it's, like, really Alcatraz or...
Well, isn't Alcatraz called The Rock because it's just like a fucking island out in the middle of nowhere and it's rocky
Probably.
and scary?
Point being, I don't remember if it's literally that in the movie or if it's just...
Like
Quote,
an
unquote.
Alcatraz like stand-in.
But it's essentially Alcatraz, and someone's taken it over and taken hostages there from the tour group. And it's up to Nicolas Cage
Fantastic.
to, like, go in there because they have chemical weapons, and he's a bomb specialist that does, like, chemical weapon stuff. But they need the only person who's ever escaped from the Rock to help him out to get in without getting caught. And that is Sean Connery.
Jesus
The
Christ.
original James Bond. And in this universe, the whole idea is that he got caught and he's basically been in prison for like 20, 30 years.
That's
Which
pretty
is
cool,
why
though.
he's an old man. It also has Ed Harris in it. Do you remember who that is?
Pumpkinhead.
No.
No?
Well, actually, technically, I think the name of that character is Ed Harris.
Oh, damn it. So it's a real man named Ed Harris, not the main character Pumpkinhead.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has a kingly persona about him.
That doesn't help me at all.
Knight Riders.
That Ed Harris. Gotcha.
Anyways, it's a fun movie. just because it's fun.
No, it sounds fun.
Jay Hernandez as Jake. He was Paxton in Hostel. Jonathan Shaich, I'm going to pronounce it that way, as George Fletcher. He was Richard Fenton in Prom Night, 2008. It's okay, Bob. You'll know some of these films eventually. Columbus Short as Danny Walensky. He was Pooch in The Losers. Dania Ramirez as Sadie. She was Callisto in X-Men The Last Stand.
I fucking hate those movies.
The original X-Men movies?
Yeah, they're bad. Well, the first one's okay.
Okay. But they did one thing right.
What are you about to say?
Wolverine.
Okay, but that's because it's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, it's actually a really bad interpretation of the
It's
character.
an awful interpretation.
But
Hugh Jackman is
Hugh
the
Jackman.
best casting for Wolverine they've ever done.
Also, Professor X is also decent.
Yeah, he's not bad. But,
I mean, they got a great actor for it. So is Magneto.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot of the casting in that movie
a lot of the
really
casting
good.
is good, but that does not make a good film.
Yeah. But that, I think, is more due to the fact that it's a comic book movie from the early 2000s, which was a little rough.
Yep.
And there's some rights issues because they only owned the X-Men and nothing else.
Yep.
And that
At the
makes
time.
stuff weird.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was owned by 20th Century Fox, right?
I think so, yeah. And they hadn't worked out all the deals and stuff.
Well, the rest of Marvel got sold to Disney.
Mm-hmm. It was a whole thing. It's like the whole Sony Spider-Man situation, but with the X-Men.
Well, that's confusing, too. And we've gotten some bad stuff from that.
Yeah, well.
Looking at you, Madam Web.
I
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it
I've
either.
just seen
I've heard it's awful.
the most horrific reviews of it. Just everyone. I've seen no one defend it.
So, I've seen one man defend it. It was my friend Troy, but he wasn't defending the film. He said he and my friend Brian went and saw it in theaters because they were like, it's gotta be bad. It's gonna be sweet to watch it in theaters. And they were like, look, it's an awful movie, but I had such a fun time
Oh, that's fair.
because it's so stupid.
If you go see like a really bad movie with friends, it's great.
Oh, for sure.
Next one. Andrew Fischella as James McCready. The last name's a reference,
Yeah, I got that.
obviously. He was the mechanic in The Final Destination.
Oh, we haven't seen that either.
Not Final Destination.
The Final Destination.
The Final Destination.
Which is a different film.
Which is a different film.
That's stupid.
Came out in, I think, 2008? No, 2009.
Okay.
I wrote it down. I just wasn't looking at it. I think it's, the fourth film
Okay.
in the franchise? Are they still making that new one?
I don't know.
I haven't heard anything
I
about
haven't heard
it.
anything either. I hope so.
I hope so. Raid Sherbedzija?
Well, that
There's a
sounds like
lot
mouthful.
of accents over these letters.
Mm.
As Yuri Ivanov, he was the homeless man in Batman Begins. Another Batman actor.
Another Batman actor.
Another Batman Begins actor, actually.
Yeah.
Elaine Cogan as Wanda Merriman. She was Henry's mother in Goodfellas. Greg German as Lawrence. He was Matson in Child's Play 2.
We haven't seen those either. Damn
Nope.
it.
Who's the main character of Child's Play? Not the main character, but the famous part of Child's Play.
Chucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bernard White as Bernard. He was Ramachandra in The Matrix Reloaded.
I've also never seen The Matrix.
Really?
No.
They're not amazing.
Really? I've heard really good things.
Well, the first one's okay,
Yeah. That's fair.
but they're also super cheesy nowadays
Sure.
because it's so early 2000s that it hurts. Like everyone's wearing like black leather
No, that's kind of sweet though, isn't
and
it?
taking themselves overly seriously. Does have Keanu Reeves in it.
That's I've heard. I've heard good things about Keanu Reeves in that film.
Marin Hinkle as Kathy. She was Rose Wiseman from The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. She was on 43 episodes between 2017 and 2023. Joey King as Brianna. She was Shelley L. Evans in The Kissing Booth.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what that is?
No. You had such a look on your face like I was supposed to know what that was when you were saying it.
Oh, Bob, that is... Actually, you'd probably enjoy it. You enjoy trash.
I do like trash a lot.
So it's a Netflix... I think it's the original movie.
Okay.
And my understanding of it, and I've heard this. I've never checked and confirmed it. I think it's based on, like, a Wattpad story or something.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm not into garbage like that. That sounds like steaming garbage.
But it's like this teen drama
Oh, God.
about these... It's a male and female best friend. And they have, like, these rules for their friendship, right? And one of the rules, that they made when they were like 5 or some shit. They've been following them until they're like seniors in high school. And one of the rules is you don't date your friend's like family. And
Yeah.
she ends up, I think, kissing her best friend's brother
Oh my god.
with the kissing booth. And then, yeah.
No, this sounds like trash.
And it did really well on Netflix. So they made, I think, 2 sequels.
Holy shit, that's such a dumb concept to get 2 sequels.
Yeah. And once again, I think it's from Wattpad or something.
Boy.
I've never watched the movie. Again, I've seen people review it, and it's very funny to listen to people gripe about it.
Reminds me of like the fact that, what is it? Twilight, or no, 50 Shades of Grey is from Twilight fan fiction. It's in the same vein in my mind.
But but the difference is there's some tropes in it where you see scenes from that movie and you're like, oh.
Where else have I seen this?
Where it's like, I can tell where this came from, because it's like, I think one of the setups in the early part of that film is that she has the most embarrassing first day of school ever
Oh my god.
because her clothes get dirty and the only thing left that she can wear is a mini skirt that her ass hangs out of. You know, and that's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, this has to have come from...
The slums of the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. You can go look into that later, Bob. I'm sure
No,
you might enjoy it.
I actually don't want
There's
to.
I've seen a screenshot of, I think it's from the 3rd movie, where the main character, this girl who's in this film, is dressed up as like Mario riding a go-kart. Yes.
No.
Yes.
That sounds like a film I'd want to watch with friends and make fun of.
I don't know. I've heard
But
they're
I wouldn't
bad.
make you watch it, so.
Dennis O'Hare as Randy. He was Holden in The Pyramid.
I don't know what that is.
It's not good.
Oh, okay.
It's a found footage film
Oh.
about the pyramids.
Oh, that sounds like fun, though. I'm sure it's not.
Is it an asylum film? I think it's an asylum film.
Okay, well,
I don't want to
that
say
changes
that
things a little bit.
without confirmation, so I'll check really quick.
Because that's what, Sharknado people?
Asylum? I don't know off the top of my head. It might be. I think so. No, it was distributed by Fox, production companies, Silvatar Media, Fox International Productions, and Atmosphere Pictures. It's not supposed to be good, though.
We'll get there.
I've seen some stuff from it. It has a 4.6 out of 10 on IMDb.
Ooh.
Who made Sharknado? Was it
I'm almost positive it was Asylum, bro.
Asylum?
I might be lying to you, though.
No, I think you might be right. We should watch Sharknado at some point.
I will
We
not
need
lie
to
to you.
We need to brain rot ourselves.
I don't mind the first one. It's not a good movie, but at least it's fun. When you get to the sequels, it starts getting too ludicrous for me to enjoy.
Yeah, it's the Asylum and sci-fi films.
Yep.
Oh, no, yeah. And the latest ones, it's just all brain rot after a while.
Yep. The first one actually feels like, okay, this is not a good film, but it's enjoyable enough.
I think if we watched all the Sharknado films back to back to back, you know how people do like Lord of the Rings marathons where they get the extended editions and they're
Shut
like,
the
yes,
fuck
we gotta
up.
watch all of them?
We're not doing that.
Sharknado.
No. I'm not doing that. I wouldn't put me or you through that.
But if you paid us,
Who paid us?
I don't know, someone.
You know what? Yeah, I'll put my fucking my Venmo in the description.
I
If you
will-
pay me, I'll do it.
I will put my mental health at risk and watch. How many Sharknado films are there?
I don't know, man.
I'm checking it out. It was
We are on
rhetorical, Bob.
Such a tangent.
Whatever, who cares? This episode's already going to be kind of long. Or short, depending on how much you hate this movie.
Oh, I'm gonna hate it. Maybe. We'll see. Actually, I'm really hopeful that I don't hate it as much as I think I'll hate it. Because it would be cool to not shit on a movie for 45
Well,
minutes.
yeah, it's always great to not shit on a movie. Hopefully there's enough good stuff where we can talk about the positive points.
And not just yell about
Unlike
how awful
The
it is.
Ring. Okay, so there's the Sharknado. There's Sharknado 2, the second one. Sharknado 3, oh hell no. Sharknado, The Fourth Awakens. Sharknado 5, Global Swarming. The last Sharknado, It's About Time.
So there's 5.
6.
6 of them. Okay.
Bob's numbers.
Numbers are hard, bro.
And we can also play Sharknado, the video game.
There's a video game?
Apparently. Came out in 2014.
What do you do?
I don't
Are
know.
you the shark or the man?
I don't know, Bob. I'm on the Wikipedia page.
Okay.
But if we assume every movie's an hour and 30 minutes, which I'm not sure if that's the case.
So I bet you one of them is like 2 hours long.
The first one's 85 minutes,
Okay.
which is not too bad. The last one is 90 minutes. So if they're all made by sci-fi, they should be about 90
An hour and a
minutes,
half, yeah.
So still, 6 movies at an hour and a half.
And then if we were to do this for the podcast, if there's then like an hour and a half tacked on both ends.
Yeah. We die.
We're not. I wouldn't say we. You.
You.
I would be
you'd
fine.
have to edit it.
Okay, that's true. That's fair.
All right. Back to our regular scheduled program. I'm still going through names. Stacy Chbosky as Elise Jackson. You know her. You probably slightly blacked out what film she's from. I don't think you liked it. Well, I think you liked it, but it made you uncomfortable.
I don't know the name. I don't recognize it.
She was Cheryl Dempsey
Oh no!
in the Poughkeepsie
Not
tapes.
that one. Holy shit! That's a
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good movie, but it's fucked up.
Doug Jones as Thin Infected Man.
Funny title. Funny
Well,
character name.
remember who plays the equivalent character
Yeah.
in the original film?
Mm-hmm.
Who is it?
Wait, hold on. What? Whoa, what? What are you saying?
Thin Infected Man.
Thin infected man.
What would that be analogous to from the original film? Most likely.
I'm trying to think. I mean, because the first infected person sees a fucking grandma, like a lady, and then like Nina's a woman.
Right, but who plays Nina Medeiros?
Oh, okay.
Because that's a very thin, tall woman.
Yeah. Okay. So I gotcha. I see.
So it wasn't. It was a question of who plays Nina Medeiros.
Oh, it's Javier Botet.
okay. Yes.
Yeah, I knew the answer, but I thought you knew that I knew, so we were moving on.
No, I asked you who it was, and you went, "Yes, I see."
Well, no, I just didn't think you actually wanted me to answer the question. I thought it was like a. Oh, what is that? What is it?
Rhetorical question.
Yes, that.
I used that word 3 minutes ago.
Did you?
Yes.
I'm not paying attention.
Anyways, Doug Jones is playing kind of a similar thing. Do you know him?
No, I know the name.
I think we've seen him on the podcast before. He plays, that you'd know him, Abe Sapien in Hellboy.
Oh, that's fucking sweet.
Yeah, he's also done a bunch of stuff for Del Toro.
That makes sense.
He's the amphibian guy in
Shape of Water?
And he's also the pale man in Labyrinth.
Oh, okay. Never seen Labyrinth.
It's very good.
I've heard it's very good.
Finally, Ben Mesmer as Griffin. Not a Griffin.
A
He's
person named Griffin.
He's a person named Griffin.
Okay.
I think he's a firefighter. He was Edward Carver. You remember Edward Carver?
Do I remember?
Yeah.
No.
He was in a movie called The Poughkeepsie Tapes.
Is that what? Oh, that was the dude's name. I got you.
That was
that
the,
makes
the,
that makes more
the
sense.
killer.
Yeah.
It wasn't his name. That's just what they called
That's
him.
what they called him. Yeah.
That's the guy who walked on like all fours backwards with the
his
mask on.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
Creepy ass motherfucker.
Now, director.
That was the. By the way, before we move on, I'm sorry. That was a long ass list of actors again.
Yes.
2 in a row with that many, motherfucker.
Sometimes they just have a long list of actors. Like
Yeah.
most of those people have been in notable stuff.
That's true. A lot of those people we had stuff to talk about.
Directors John Eric Dowdle. Do you recognize that name?
No.
Oh, okay. He
Should I have? Hold on. Don't move on like that.
maybe
You piece of shit.
maybe you should have. He also directed As Above, So Below.
That okay. That's a movie that I think would scare me.
Yes, it's underground
Yep.
and claustrophobic
One of the scariest things I can think of.
and found footage.
Yeah.
Writers are Drew Dowdle. He also wrote As Above, So Below.
Okay.
He seems to work with John Eric Dowdle on a lot of stuff, assumedly
They're related.
because they're brothers.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I wouldn't say brother. They
I
may
didn't
not
look
be
it
brothers,
up,
but they're probably related.
They have the
last
same
name.
last name. And then the other writers, John Eric Dowdle, who obviously also wrote As Above, So Below, but he also wrote the Poughkeepsie Tapes.
Oh, okay, cool. That now this is all making more sense to me.
That's why there's Poughkeepsie Tape actors in this.
Yeah.
Do you remember the other reason why there's Poughkeepsie Tape actors in this? Like why, for instance, Cheryl is in this film? It was a fun fact on the Poughkeepsie Tapes. Let's see if you actually remember it.
Dude, it's been so long since we watched that fucking movie. We'll probably record in the same place, right? That would make more sense.
No, she is married to the director.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's why, assumedly, she's in this film, too. Not sure about the guy who plays Griffin.
Yeah, they probably just went, "Oh, you did a good job,"
Probably like,
and he did do
he
a
won
good
a
job.
small role in this film.
He's a fucking creepazoid in that film.
Anyways, budget's estimated at $12 million.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah, but it's shockingly not that much.
Well, it's more than I expected.
That is fair. Box office, about $41 million.
It made quite a bit of money.
So it did really good. Country of origin, United States. Tagline. This is a long tagline. kind of like the classic tagline where it's a description
Mm-hmm.
on the poster.
Sure.
On March 11th, 2008, the government sealed off an apartment complex in Los Angeles. The residents were never seen again. No details, no witnesses, no evidence. Until now.
Okay. Sure. It's the same concept. I was actually very curious where this film was going to be set. Because,
L.A.
Yeah, L.A. That makes the most sense, I guess.
I guess.
I was kind of hoping for like a unique location or somewhere fun. But it's fine.
Hey, Los Angeles is Spanish.
Sure.
Wreck was Spain.
I was about to say, the wreck was Spain.
Makes sense.
No? I mean, maybe a little bit. But that's that's the loosest connection I've ever heard in my life.
Exactly the same setting. For my facts, I have one.
Okay.
One fact. This film has a sequel.
Oh.
Quarantine 2, Terminal.
That makes sense. There's a sequel to Wreck.
There's a couple sequels to Wreck.
I want to watch the third and the fourth one. Because, what is it, the third one? I've seen the poster for it. It looks so fucking sweet.
Well, remember the whole thing with Wreck, I think I told you this, is that the two creators broke up
Yeah.
who gets rights to the sequels.
Mm-hmm.
So the third one's one and the fourth one's the other.
I want to watch them so
So they're
bad.
different movies.
Oh, can that be the first thing we do when we finally record extra content for the year?
I thought you decided you wanted it to be like Halloween or something.
No,
'cause
fuck
we've
that.
done most
Fuck
of it.
that. Fuck that.
Or Scream because of spoilers.
Scream would be cool. No, those are too long, and we could just do 2 films. That's easy. Two quick films, and I want to watch them so bad.
You forgot about it until this moment.
I did forget, but I'm so excited to watch them because that gives me to just go back and watch Wreck again and watch Wreck Squared.
You can watch Wreck and Wreck Squared at any time.
Yeah,
Or I guess technically Wreck bracket.
Yeah, I could watch them at any time, but I'm not gonna do that. But it would be fun to watch them all like relatively close to each other, so I could. It's because it's one thing, man. Because we watched the original Wreck and Wreck Squared back to back in like a two-part episode,
Yeah.
and that was really sweet.
I mean, to be honest, we should probably finish at least one series this year.
Well, we did
'Cause
say
we
we were gonna do
said
that, and it's
That's what we were going to do.
6 months in, and
But
we have
we've
done
been
nothing.
really busy. There's a couple franchises that are almost done. I mean, we just did Evil Dead this season.
True, we could watch Farm of Darkness and Rise and the remake. And
well,
then,
no, we could watch The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Evil Dead. Evil Dead's the one we haven't seen. The Evil Dead's the first one. So we could watch Evil Dead and then Evil Dead Rise.
And Army
and
of
Army
Darkness.
of Darkness.
Yeah.
So that's only 3.
That's only 3. That's not too bad. But,
Yeah.
you know, not like we have a 4th of July episode that is going to come out,
We are probably recording that after this.
probably.
So we should probably move on to the movie.
Yeah, shit. We've been going for a while, huh? Yeah, this is a long one. I'll stop yapping and we can move on to the film. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in a minute.
See you in a bit.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We just finished watching Quarantine. Do I need to be specific on anything there? Is there another film called Quarantine?
Probably not, but who knows after the pandemic?
Sure. 2008 is the year this movie came out, I think.
2000, was it 2008 or 2009?
You better be shitting me. I better be right. I want to be mad.
I think it's 2008. But I don't have my OneNote app open right now, but I'll go ahead and open it.
Why did-
2008.
Okay, I was right. Thank God. Anyway, if you can't tell, I'm not nearly as angry as last week.
I know, it's kind of nice.
It is kind of nice. I thought I was going to be furious.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and Bob had the same opinion on this, where it was like, it is very scene for scene
It is a very scene for scene.
for
Like,
Wreck,
super close.
but it does some different things from a stylistic perspective that I don't hate.
Yeah,
I definitely like Wreck better.
sure. And
Uh,
I think objectively Wreck is a superior film,
Yes.
but they make changes where I'm like, okay, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not mad about it.
I think kind of right off the bat, I'm going to say this right now as like my disclaimer. It's going to be my same disclaimer I gave for The Ring, where I'm like, if you have an option between the original and this remake, I'm going to suggest you watch the original.
For sure.
However,
Agreed.
if for whatever reason you can't watch the original first, or you have something against it, like maybe you really, really hate foreign language films for some reason, I don't think this one was that bad.
No.
Not as good, but I think you'd have a fun watch. That being said, I'll do the usual stuff. We're going to give a brief description, and then we're going to get into spoilers. As always, we recommend you watch it unspoiled. And like I said, maybe go watch Wreck first for the better spoiler-free experience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, So, like I said, basically the same as Rec. The premise is there's a news anchor, assumedly. She's a news reporter. I don't know if she's an anchor. Don't know her name. What was it?
Angela.
Was it Angela?
Yes.
Is that the name of the character in Rex too?
I don't remember.
Okay.
We haven't seen that. That movie is from season 1, Ben.
Season 1, yeah. Not season 2. I keep thinking it was on season 2.
Nope, it was season 1.
But she's a news reporter, and she's doing a segment on firefighters in Los Angeles, assumedly.
Yeah.
I don't think she ever explicitly says that.
No, she
but
does.
It's fairly obvious, at least.
She
does
explains
say
it
it?
at the beginning, yeah.
Okay, well,
She
she's...
gives the same spiel that they give at the beginning of Rec, where they're like, we're going to follow around these first responders at night to see what their jobs look like, and blah, 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 blah. She didn't do the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's the setup. She has this brief segment at the very beginning where she's chilling at the fire station, and she ends up going on call with a couple dudes. They go into this apartment complex because there's like an old lady there who's sick or something. They go and check on her. She ends up being violent, and right when someone gets injured, the building gets quarantined, and no one can get out. And from that point on, it's okay, what is happening inside the building? Like, why was there a violent person? And also, why are we being trapped in here?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds interesting. Check it out.
Yep.
I do think this franchise is worth a watch, whether you're watching the remake or the original. It's cool.
It is cool. We didn't mention it yet, but I think it's fairly obvious. This is a found footage film, technically.
Yeah, he says fairly obvious. It's fairly obvious if you're familiar with Rec.
Sure, but also the setup feels fairly obvious, because we're talking about, like, a cameraman, them
Yeah.
following people around.
That's fair. Doesn't necessarily have to be found footage. So.
No, but it makes sense to be found footage.
Let's start with the found footage thing. I know your answer, but did you like it in this movie?
It's fine. I think the story itself, like I just said, facilitates the found footage, and it needs to be that way. But I think the camera work in this is a lot worse than the original.
Yeah.
And that kind of sucks, because that is an aspect of the original film that I loved. It makes the original film as good as it is. And the fact that this lacks the same sort of intention of camera work that the original has sucks.
Yeah. I also had an issue with the camera work in this film. And look, I wasn't expecting the camera work in Quarantine to be as good as the camera work in Rec.
Well, I think that would be holding the bar too high.
Yeah, because the camera work in that movie is insane.
It's like nuts.
If you didn't watch our episode on that, or if you're unfamiliar with that movie, the whole thing with Rec is that the head cinematographer, Pablo Russo, I believe is his name.
I think you're right.
Is actually playing the character of the cameraman.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the entire movie, the cameraman's actually running around with the camera in scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the most impressive thing I have ever seen.
No, it's incredible.
Especially because they're filming in like a real building.
Mm-hmm.
It's very physically intensive. It looks amazing. And it's probably some of, at least from a cinematography standpoint, the most convincing found footage you're ever going to see.
It's incredible.
And like Bob said, setting that as the standard is setting it way too high. I knew it wasn't going to be that good. But I was still somewhat disappointed.
I was definitely underwhelmed.
And look, I kind of like found footage. I think it's a unique idea. And I think when executed well, it can create some really unique films. But one of my biggest pet peeves for found footage is when you are like, okay, we're going to make a found footage movie, but then we're just going to use regular cameras.
Yeah.
And put like a filter over it or something to make the cameras look shittier. And this film didn't do that because A, we know the characters are using like film grade cameras because they're news reporters. But what they did do is they kind of cheesed the whole found footage camera style thing. I'm not sure if this is the case, but it definitely felt like they had a professional camera set up, like Steadicam and everything, and then in post edited the footage to make it look like it was shaking or zooming in and out and stuff. And not only does it make the footage look weirdly, I don't know, not even grainy, but like weirdly CGI and weird at times. Like just funky.
Yeah.
Like weirdly fake. But it also was overdone to the point of being unwatchable at times. And by overdone, I mean like the shaking or the zooming in and out. That was honestly probably the biggest thing that took me out of this film.
No,
Like,
same.
it came close to ruining some sequences because I was like, I cannot see what's happening.
Yeah, and like I get wanting it to be chaotic and hectic for the sake of like action and like being scary, because like that's sort of the point. But to make it to the point where the film is literally unwatchable, like I cannot tell what's happening, therefore I am not engaged in the story, sucks. And in the original film they did that a little bit, but it was not nearly that intense or like ridiculous. Like in the original film, yeah, the camera shakes when he runs and stuff, but it feels, you can feel the bounce in his step. It feels natural, and when stuff happens, it feels like it's happening for a reason. In this, it felt like they were just going crazy with it for some reason.
Yeah, and I think that comes down to the simple fact that in the original, it feels like a professional cameraman is doing his best to still make the shots, even though he's running and stuff. So there's minimal shaking. There's no like zoom really going on randomly. But in this film, again, I think everything's done in post, and it's definitely the editor just going, does this look cool?
Yeah.
And so, obviously, I don't think it looks necessarily great, but more importantly, it doesn't fit the structure of this universe. Like, there's some sequences where just the cameraman was zooming in and out all the time, and it was like, who would do that?
Yeah.
Like, what person would shoot this and just, like, I'm freaking out, I'm panicking, I get shaking, but why am I also just hitting the zoom button in and out repeatedly? And so, outside of just making some of the really high-tense sequences of this film hard to see what's, like, going on and keep track of, it's just goofy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree.
And that's just really, I think that was the big tension takeout for me.
Yeah, and that's something I really wanted to talk about. And since we're kind of on the topic, I did not think this movie was scary.
At all.
At all. And I guess, and you mentioned it during the film, I guess you were right that it's because I know what's going to happen because I've seen the original, but also it lacks all of the scary elements of the first film. Like, there's no tension in this whatsoever. It doesn't feel like there are stakes at any point. And I don't know why that is, or I can't really put my finger on it, but I was not invested in the characters in the same way as I was in the original film.
Yeah. For me, it comes back to some of that camera stuff. Everything feels a little bit artificial to me, so it doesn't feel like there's it doesn't feel like there's that real depth that the first film had. But honestly, the real reason I didn't find this to be super scary was because there's just less horror elements in this film than the original.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
I think it was the big point that we noticed during this film, and we talked about it a bit while we were watching, but this film focuses a lot on the characterization of characters and their interactions with each other, rather than the explicit, like, oh, there's these scary things coming at us. And what I'll say is it's unique. Like, that is definitely a different change than the original film.
Yeah, for sure.
Which has a lot less characterization, especially for the minor characters. And so I think that was cool, but it makes a lot of sequences just like, oh, our characters are just talking to each other, and I don't necessarily care.
Yeah.
Now, it had the benefit of making certain sequences where you have, like, 10 people screaming at each other in a room, I think more effective than the original.
For sure, but the purpose of the film was not to watch 10 people yell at each other in a room. It's to be scary.
Yeah, and I think that really took away from the horror elements for me.
Mm-hmm. No, I completely agree. And I also think something that messed me up, at least, is they did change up the beginning a little bit. Like, the opening to this film is way longer.
Yeah, it was so long I checked. It was
Yeah.
like 12 minutes of our cameraman and news lady hanging out at the
fire station.
department.
And I would say in the first film, that's maybe 5 minutes.
Maybe.
And by the time, like, 10, 12 minutes, things have already gone bad. And it feels like they took too long to get us into the action in this film. So when we finally got there, it was too late. Like, there was no tension at that point. It was like, we've spent 12 minutes of them fucking around in a fire station being goofy, and, like, I guess their intention was to make us care about these characters and characterize them and make the stronger elements, like the scary elements of the film, stronger, but it did the opposite of that.
Yeah. And again, it wasn't bad.
It's not
like,
bad.
Those 10 minutes at the beginning, we got through them. I turned the bottom. I was like, okay, this is way too long.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
It was fun. It was enjoyable to watch.
It's just, for the original movie that was so tense and felt fastly paced, to become translated into something that feels kind of slow
Mm-hmm.
with just these little bursts of excitement. I don't know. It didn't jive with me very well.
No, it really doesn't work because it feels like when there is not a scary monster on screen, I was bored, right? Like I was just like, okay, can we move on to the monster parts because that's the fun part of the film, and that sucks because in the original, you're sort of engrossed in the actual camera work and like there's so much more little stuff in between to make me care. Like intentional shot stuff where it's like, oh, you see someone in the background or you see something in the background that's relevant to something later. So there's a lot more to watch out for. But in this, it just sort of felt like there was nothing between the monster parts.
Yeah. With that being said, because they did lean more into stuff like that, I think we got some cool background stuff that we don't get necessarily in the original.
Oh, for sure.
Obviously, we get more of the characters explored. But one of the big things this film does is it switches up what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, spoilers for Wreck here.
Oh, mega spoilers.
Mega spoilers. But the whole idea with Wreck is that was in our zombie category,
Mhm.
right? And the creatures in it are functionally zombies. Like, they are kind of undead running around.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out that we learn, eventually in the film that they are a weird demonic infection thing. So it's a half magic, half infection.
Mhm.
And that's why they're functionally able to be like zombies. But in this one, it's not whatever the fuck I just described.
True.
It's mutated rabies.
Which I think is cool.
And I thought that was such a cool change. In fact, I think it functionally makes the zombies a little bit scarier in this
Yeah.
because the infection is more infectious. I think they point out right away where it's like, okay, it's not just by bite. It's like if you get any of the zombies' fluids in your mucus cells, you're infected.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really cool. And they also worked that into like the justification for how it spreads in this apartment.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I like that. I thought it hit really well. And then they also worked it into the world building. So we had like a veterinary character in this film. And obviously a vet would be familiar with rabies. And so he's
Mhm.
able to recognize it and then give us information about rabies. I thought all that was really cool.
No, it feels like they really worked it out a lot more in this film than in the original. Because I'm gonna be honest, the only reason we learn all that demon stuff in the original film is because if you watch the second film, they explain it to you.
Yeah, and the whole weird demon stuff feels a little tacked on at the end of the first film.
It is tacked on at the end of the first film, but it's also way creepier because you don't know any of it until the very end of the film. And by the time
Yeah.
you get there, it's like, okay, I don't really care about that, but it's spooky.
I guess my point is like the justification for the infected in this film
Mhm.
feels stronger
Yeah,
than the original film.
for sure, for
And
sure.
I think that is pretty cool. They also changed up how the infected look. They look convincingly like they have rabies,
Like,
like
foaming at the mouth.
foaming at the mouth. They did make their eyes completely black, which doesn't make sense.
They only did that for one of them, though.
I think they did it for a couple of them.
Really? I only noticed it with the first
Yeah.
lady.
Which I think they do in the original Wreck as well.
But that's because it's demons.
Yeah, and it's not in this one. So, that was a little bit odd. There's also some weird stuff that, because they changed to rabies, doesn't necessarily make sense in this
Yeah.
film, but it happens in the original, so they did in this one anyways.
Mhm.
For instance, there's a character who is infected from the very beginning, but you don't learn they're infected until, like, the very end of the film,
Yeah.
and they're with the whole group of characters. And that makes sense in Wreck, because it's a demonic infection, and assumedly the demon doesn't have to control a body until it wants to.
Mm-hmm.
But in this film, the infection strikes really quickly.
Yeah.
In an hour or under. And somehow this person doesn't turn until it's, like, convenient.
Yeah, but it's because they've been like, oh, she's been sick for like 2 weeks. It's like, it's just bronchitis. That's not how that works.
Yeah. So, point being is they change stuff in this film. And I'm okay with some of the changes. It creates a unique change. It feels like they were trying to do at least some of their own stuff.
Yeah.
And that was cool to see. I mean, I think it made the film at least different enough for me to enjoy it.
Agreed.
But it also felt like they didn't commit enough to being a unique film. Like, this was
Yeah.
in this weird realm of, okay, it's fairly scene for scene.
It is fairly scene for scene.
But you've also changed some weird stuff that makes this film not as good.
Sure.
Like, the rabies scene makes some stuff awkward. They change out some of the actors to make them more personable.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, the coolest character in Wreck, besides Pablo, because Pablo is just
Pablo is so cool.
he's the cameraman. He's amazing. Is Manu, the fireman.
Oh, he's so good.
He's so rad. He just like
He's so sweet, bro.
body checks some zombies. And in this one, they sub him out for a character that is 100% just intended to be a male lead
Mm-hmm.
and is supposed to be like younger and more attractive. And he doesn't sell the whole like.
He's just not as. The cool part about Manu is that I think he feels like a seasoned firefighter who's been there for a long time and knows some stuff and is like really trying hard to do his job and keep these people safe. The dude lacked the character in this lacked the physique of Manu. He's not big and intimidating. Like he was not as like commanding as I wanted.
Yeah, that character's name's Jake.
Yeah.
And I think that was another issue with this film where it's like the original did a really good job with getting actors that felt like real people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's because they did get some amateur people. If I remember right, the person who plays the main character is an actual news reporter
Mhm.
rather than an actor. And in this one, obviously, everyone's actors. And because of that, everything feels, again, too artificial, too polished in comparison to Wreck.
Yeah, a lot of it feels overacted in my opinion. Like I get what they were going for because they were trying to set up all these characters as likable. So when you see them freaking out, they're supposed to be more scary and like make it more tense. But it doesn't do that. It feels too unreal.
Because it's, once again, it's because the tension doesn't hit.
Yeah.
For instance, my example of this is going to be Jennifer Carpenter, the main character,
Mm-hmm.
who, again, I like her. I think
I
she's
like
a
her too.
decent actor. If you ever seen Dexter, she's like a main character in that.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
She's Dexter's sister. But I like her. She is not a bad actor in this film, but I don't like how she plays the character.
Me either.
And I think it's because of it just not clicking with me. Like it feels like she's doing a decent performance of being freaked out, but the film's not selling it for me.
Yeah.
So it feels overacted, combined with the simple fact that and I think this might be a writing issue, but she comes off as such a overly scared damsel in distress in this film instead of a strong yet scared person.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I feel the exact same way. Like it feels like she's freaking out but not helping. But in the original film, she is freaking out, and that's fine because you should be. This is a terrifying situation to be in. I understand. But she actually does stuff and is like competent and tries to help out. But in this, she's just kind of like catatonic sometimes and like tweaking. And it's like, I get it, but it doesn't feel like, it feels like her fight or flight has not kicked in and she's all flight, no fight. And that, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. What else does this film do that's pretty cool? The set feels pretty artificial,
It does.
but they do add some cool things in. We get to see more of the apartments,
Mhm.
just like we get to see more of the characters. And we get a cool elevator stuff.
Yeah, the elevator thing is cool because in the original film, there's no elevator. It's just stairs.
But there is in this one.
But there is in this one, and it's interesting. Like, it adds some cool elements, which I enjoyed. And it makes sense for apartment complex in LA in 2008. There would be an elevator.
This film also leans more into animals.
Yes, because it's
Obviously-
rabies.
Because it's rabies. But I was talking to Bob about this during the film. I think this might be a cultural difference, but everyone has dog in this film.
Mm-hmm.
Because people just keep dogs a lot in the U.S.
Yeah.
Even if you're living in an apartment, you're like, yeah, I'm going to have a full-size dog. That
Why
makes
not?
total sense. So there's some cool dog stuff. Because
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's rabies and it can spread to animals. And a rat.
And a rat.
That rat really comes at Steve.
That's so fucking stupid.
But yeah, there's some cool dog attack stuff
Yeah.
that I liked as an addition.
Well, I think it adds more. It amps up the horror because, there's something about, for me personally, I don't know about you, a dog attacking me is much scarier than one of these things attacking me in my mind. There's something more. There's something more scary about an animal for some reason.
Well, animals tend to be more effective at using their teeth
Sure.
to
I guess that
bite
makes
someone
sense.
than a human. Yeah, but I thought it was a cool change, but it also, for me, underlined the simple fact that I was like, I wish they did more of their own thing in this
Sure.
film.
But then, I think if they take it too far, then why are they making a remake, right? Like, why not just do your own thing completely? Why not just make a different film? If that makes sense.
Yeah, but that's essentially what they were doing anyways.
Mm,
Kinda.
Kind of. But if they had gone farther with it, I don't know if I would have liked it as much. If
Fair
that makes
enough.
sense.
But I guess my whole takeaway with this film is I thought it was decent, but I think Wreck is better. And if they were going to do a couple of unique things anyways, I would have preferred if they went, okay, This film, Quarantine, is inspired by Wreck. It's that same setup of news reporter gets trapped in building with infected people, but outside of that, it's different. And the fact that they switch stuff up, but then have like large segments that are scene for scene shoved in with new content was just kind of jarring.
I guess that's fair.
And I would have liked either or. Do you have anything else to add? Because I have one final note. If you don't, we can go to recommendations.
What do you got?
Okay. I know I gave my whole opinion on the film, and that's probably the best way to wrap this up. But before we move on, I will mention that, like I said earlier when we were talking about cinematography in this film, and it feeling very fake and like CGI-esque, I think part of that is this film does use a lot of CGI as compared to practical effects. I think the original film, Wreck, did use a lot of practical effects.
Yeah, I think the only CGI stuff was there at the end.
And, like, some bodies falling.
Was that CGI?
Briefly.
Oh, I guess it kind of had to be, right?
Yeah. In either case, this film is very heavy on the CGI, and I don't think it looks bad.
It's not awful.
But it tends to add, at least for me, a lack of realism into the film. Like, there's just, all the CGI is not, like, photorealistic all the time. So it's just, it takes me out of it.
And it feels like they tried to cover it up with the camera work by, like, cutting back and forth really quick and turning the light, like, blinking the lights on and off. And, like, I get why they did it that way, but it doesn't work.
Because the CGI is objectively really decent.
It's not bad.
And if I think this had been shot traditionally, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But it just seemed a little funky at times.
Yeah, and I think that the lack of realism is really what makes this film so much less terrifying in my mind. Like, if you listen to our original episode on Wreck, I was shaking. I was really scared. I was really freaked out, man. That movie scared the shit out of me. And I was kind of worried coming into this that I would have the same effect, but it lacks all of the tension and horror elements that really made that movie scary, and that kind of sucks. I don't know. I have mixed opinions on this film, but I didn't hate it as much as I hated The Ring.
That's good.
I'm so glad. I was not prepared to be pissed off today. I was not ready for it, man.
All right. Well, on that note, though, I guess you just want to do recommendations and stuff?
Sure.
Okay.
If you liked Wreck, I would actually recommend watching Quarantine. I think it's a cool watch because they changed enough stuff that it's a little more interesting, and they kept it close enough to where it's like it is a remake and it is almost scene for scene, but the stuff they changed makes it worth a watch.
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised at times.
No, same. If you like Jennifer Carpenter, she's in the movie. I think she does an okay job. Like we were saying, I don't know if I like her. I think her performance is fine. I just don't know if I like the portrayal of the character as much. So if you haven't seen Wreck and you want to watch this for Jennifer Carpenter, it's probably a much better experience, actually. That's another thing. If you just don't want to watch Wreck for some reason,
if you don't like foreign films,
this is an okay watch. It's not bad. I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty fun. I think those are my recommendations.
Okay. Straight off the bat, if you're a fan of Wreck, this is the American remake. It's technically a part of the franchise. So I do think it's worth a watch. It's not bad. If you want kind of like a film where a bunch of characters are trapped inside with some form of scary thing, maybe an infection if you're looking for that, I think it's well done. You know, it's not the best infection film. We're not getting to see the infection pass along in the most logical way. Sometimes characters just show up infected, but it's still kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because we get to see some different like effects and stuff like that.
For sure.
If you're into any of the actors in this film, I think it's worth checking out. I don't think anyone was bad. If you want a found footage film.
Yeah.
I think it was decent. Not my favorite, but not bad.
It's fair.
That being said, you want to give it a rating?
I'm not as angry as I was last time. Mostly because I didn't really mention it during the episode. A big thing about this movie that kind of, I would say, is better than the original is it handles the group stuff a lot better. Like, all the group argument scenes feel a lot more weighted because we've gotten more time to characterize people, and I think that's semi-interesting.
That was my favorite part about this.
No, same. Agreed. Like, the scenes where they're all just yelling at each other, arguing, are so much like, they just feel so much more real.
I hated that they padded the runtime.
Sure, that's fair.
But the characters were so much more unique.
And adding that to the fact that the horror elements are at least okay. Like, I got jump scared once, and I knew it was coming, but it was because it was a well set up jump scare. Like, it still worked on me.
Oh yeah, you went, and here it is. You still went, oh fuck.
Because it was good. Like, it still works. There's still good setup pieces in this movie. The takeaway for me is, like, the bar was really high. The bar was so incredibly high. So how much does that hurt this film if we're looking at it as a remake?
That's what's making rating hard for me, because like, Wreck is so great that I'm like, okay, this is not a bad film.
It's not a bad film, right?
It's just in comparison to Wreck, it's
not as
lacking.
good, right? Like, The Ring just sucks. Like, I will put that out there. I don't like that movie. Ringu is fantastic, but The Ring is just bad. Like, I don't know how else to put that.
I don't even think The Ring was bad. It just was not great.
Yeah. I mean, I would say this, at minimum, hits a 3. I think it's pretty decent. Maybe even a 3.5.
Yeah. My own personal opinions make that hard.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. Like, I'm like, 3.5. But I think a 3 is more befitting because there are parts of this movie that I think are just objectively not amazing. And I don't think I could give it a 3.5. Like, I think the camera work is, while it is not bad, and I'm comparing it to something that is amazing, there's still stuff in it where I go, okay, that just doesn't look great. Like, why would you do that? Like, it doesn't make sense in my mind or from a cinematography perspective at all. So I think a 3 is where I'm sitting because it's okay. But there's stuff in it that I don't like.
That's fair. I think I'm also going to give it a 3. And, I was between a 3 and a 3.5. And I think you sold me to give it a 3 with your whole spiel on just there's some things that aren't great. Because this movie isn't my favorite. And it's hard for me to view this film objectively because I like Wreck so much. I think it's just an amazingly well-done film. But overall, I think this film is fairly decent, and I like some of the characterization stuff. But the way they do the found footage and fake some of the amateurish qualities of it really bugs me.
Same.
Like, it's kind of just visually cluttered and annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And while that in of itself would be not great, that combined with the lighting in this film
Oh, my God.
being not great
We didn't even talk about that.
made certain sequences frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
And if you're wondering about the lighting thing, it's just a dark movie.
It's just dark, yeah.
And if you don't have a TV that does like true black, it makes things hard to watch.
I also don't remember the original being this dark.
No, I don't think so.
Like, it's just not... Because in the original, they have a light on the end of the camera, and that's like a whole point. But in the original, the light never really goes out until the end of the film. In this, the light constantly blinks in and out for some reason. Like, it's busted.
I think it has to do with the fact that they kind of fake the found footage aspects of recording this film.
Sure.
Like, I think they were shooting on a professional rig, and then they edited it in post to make it look more convincing as, like, okay, a real person's holding the camera.
Yeah.
And I think a part of that is I think this was set on a film studio instead of, like, a real house like it is in Wreck.
Mm-hmm.
And so my guess is it was properly lit sets most of the time.
That makes more sense.
Or at the very least, fairly bright.
Mm-hmm.
And then they edited the film to look dark, and then they put like some stuff in post to make it look like there was an actual light on the camera. Unlike in Wreck, where it's like, I think they probably actually strapped a flashlight
To the camera.
Yeah. Anyways, I had some issues with how the film visually looked at times.
Yeah.
To the point of it being annoying and taking me out of the film. And for that reason alone, I think I have to take off that half a point and give it a 3.
Sure. No, I'm in the exact same place you are.
Outside of that, though, I think it was good enough to be a 3.5.
Yeah. But there's also one thing in particular that I just fucking cannot stand that they did, and we haven't talked about it. And it's a minor spoiler. Basically, he hits someone in the face with the camera, and he gets blood on the lens, and it's just a really bad filter.
Yeah, because it's all done in post.
Yeah. And that, like, I'm like, you could have just...
It's
looks not that
like
hard.
There's a pane of glass.
Yeah.
With someone drew like red marker on it.
And it's not great. And they spend about 4 minutes wiping it off. And it is stupid. Like, there's just stuff like that in the movie where I'm going, why is this here? We could have done the exact same thing practically, and it would have looked so much better and also saved some time. I digress.
That being said, outtakes?
Yeah.
If we have any.
There might be a few.
We
I
marked
think the
some
jump scares
stuff.
in there, right?
Eh.
Okay. Yeah. We'll see you guys in a minute. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the outtake section for this episode of Beware the Board. I hope you're enjoying our review of Quarantine so far. I like this film. I think it's an okay remake in a world where remakes usually suck. But without further ado, let's get into the outtakes. This first clip is Ben and I realizing just how long the opening to this film really is.
How much of this is there?
There's way too much of this. I
mean,
get what they're trying to do.
It's fun,
but
it's also
not what I care about.
there's so much of it. We're 11 minutes in.
We've yet to do anything. This next clip is me getting jump scared, even though I knew it was coming. I'm sure we're gonna get jump scared in half a second, right?
Face.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it. Oh, you know what? It might just be a rat this time or something. You know what I'm saying? Fuck! No, that scared the fuck out of me, bro.
Even though you knew it was going to be there,
Yeah.
it looked weird.
It looked weird. That's what got me. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the outtakes. If there were any, I don't know. Do we have any announcements, Ben?
Ooh, no. Except for we're maybe doing those 3
Stop saying
Unholy
maybe.
Trinity episodes.
We have yet to record them.
No, we recorded one.
Well over a year ago.
Yes.
It's recorded.
It's recorded.
Have I edited it?
No. But those are coming out at some point. I guess if we have time, we might record the second one next week.
We meant to do that this week.
Well, we had to
and the week before that.
We had to do 4th of July, which I hope you guys enjoyed because that came out yesterday. Anyways, usual spiel. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. If you're checking us out on any of those podcast-specific platforms, please give us a like, a rating, something like that, like a quick review. Really helps us with recommendations to other people on those platforms. Helps us get out there. You could also recommend us to a friend if you think you'd like to share the podcast with them. We appreciate that. It's really nice to pass that infection around.
Oh, gross. Come on.
Otherwise, we're also on YouTube, which, while not great for audio-only content, is nice for us because we can see like your interactions with the podcast that way pretty easily because it's hard to understand Spotify analytics.
It is a little tough.
But understanding like YouTube subscriptions and likes is pretty straightforward. And it's really cool to see how many people are checking out this thing we do. If you're also on YouTube, there's a couple cool tools you might like. There's a search button, which lets you search keywords in all our videos. So in case you're looking for movie titles, that's an easy way to do it, especially because we've covered like 150 movies at this point.
Oh, I think we're almost to 160 maybe.
Yeah, we might be above that. There's also a bell button, which lets you get notified whenever we do something new, in case we post something on a not standard date. But the big thing with YouTube is it's one of the 2 major places to communicate with us at. You can do that in the comment section of a specific video, if there's something you want to talk to us about there. Or you can go over to Twitter, @BewareTheBoard, and go talk to Bob. See what his average day is like. You know, see if he does anything exciting, like get a nice call that he has to go to, stuff like that.
I didn't know where you were going with that because you already used the infection bit for the thing earlier. So I was like, where's he going to go? It's a good one. Like Ben said, check us out on Twitter, @BewareTheBoard. It's where we post updates about the show, information about the show. Basically, if there's anything you want to know about the show, it goes on our Twitter. On Mondays, I post a spoiler post for that week's episode, which is a hidden movie cover you can reveal. So you can watch the film before we do. So whenever you listen to episodes, you don't get any spoilers. We're being vague about stuff. You know what we're talking about. Then on Fridays, or whatever day the episode goes live, I always post a link to the episode whenever it goes up. So if you ever miss an upload or know when something goes up, there's always a link there. Last thing, look, I know it's been a long time.
Bob used to do short form content for this podcast.
I know that I have not posted any kind of short form content in quite a while. But as you can tell, we've been trying to record other stuff on top of the normal show for weeks now, and stuff just keeps happening. Things go bad, okay? So, if you like short form content and want to support the show, check us out @BewareTheBoard on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts. I might have one soon.
It's the same stuff that's been up there for months.
Yep. Not months. It's been like a month and a half or something. 2 months.
I think it's been more than that.
I don't remember the last time I made one. What was the last one I made? Piranha?
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn. It's been a hot minute. But maybe one day I'll get back to that. Okay, Ben, I think that's it.
All right, we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. See you guys next time.